This is KGW News at noon.
We start with a deadly shooting in a Walmart parking lot in Oklahoma. A city official says the suspect shot and killed 2 people before turning the gun on himself. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Brenda Braxton. Right now, police say they don't have a motive and they don't know what led up to this shooting, but here's what we do know. The shooting happened this morning in the Walmart parking lot in the small town of Duncan. That's about 80 miles south of Oklahoma City. Police say a man and woman were shot and killed inside a car, and another man was fatally shot outside the car. The Duncan city manager told NBC one of the people who died was the shooter, but investigators haven't confirmed that. Reporters talked to one man who says he saw the shooting.
What was it like watching this scene unfold?
Man, I'm a combat vet. I've seen everything, so it was kind of just protective mode. I just wanted to save whoever was in the vicinity.
No Walmart employees were involved in the shooting, and investigators don't believe there's currently a threat to the public. In Fresno, police are investigating a mass shooting at a house party last night. It killed 4 people and injured 6 others. Police don't know if there was a lone shooter or multiple suspects. Sam Brock has the latest.
A manhunt is underway in California. Police searching for whoever opened fire Sunday night at a family gathering in Fresno, killing 4 people and wounding 6 others. Authorities say the gunman, or possibly multiple shooters, burst into the backyard party where dozens of friends and family members were watching the Sunday night football game and began shooting.
They fired into the backyard where most of the people were in this party, striking 10 people.
Police now trying to figure out what led to this most recent violence last night that has this community on edge.
This is senseless violence. We're going to do everything we can to find out who the perpetrators are and bring them to justice.
Police are canvassing that Fresno neighborhood right now looking for surveillance video or witnesses, anything that can help them piece together what happened. They think it is very likely that this was a targeted shooting, and we're worried that it actually could have been worse, with women and children inside the home where this shooting took place. Sam Brock, NBC News, Los Angeles.
A former employee accused of shooting and killing a manager where he worked in Wilsonville will be in court this afternoon. 25-year-old Camilo Santiago is set to appear at 3 o'clock. On Friday, police say he shot up Heritage Specialty Foods near Southwest Beckman and Boberg Roads. 36-year-old Carl Hellinger died. Police say he was a manager, and Santiago was a former employee who had recently been fired. Santiago ran away after the shooting, but eventually surrendered to police in a Woodburn neighborhood. We'll continue to follow the story and bring you any new details as we have them. You can go to kgw.com or our news app for updates. Portland police are investigating a possible hate crime after 3 Middle Eastern restaurants got threatening phone calls. The most recent happened late last night. As Lindsay Nadrich reports, the manager thinks they're being targeted because of the type of food they serve.
As the restaurant was full of customers Saturday night, staff at Shalom Y'all were dealing with more than just the dinner rush. Around 6, someone called and threatened an employee over the phone.
We had the threatening phone call, and then very shortly after, a guest here let us know and clued us into what was on the answering machine.
When managing partner Jamal Hassan checked the restaurant's answering machine, he was shocked.
It's supposed to welcome everybody to the restaurant. I mean, our name is Shalom Y'all. It is for everyone.
But the greeting he heard instead was anti-Semitic and homophobic. Jamal says someone hacked into their phone system. So when customers called, they heard this.
Hi, you have reached the stupid Jewish restaurant.
The recording continues with explicit and graphic language about employees performing sex acts on each other and on customers. They were hacked again with a new message.
You have reached the Jewish restaurant. If you want to eat our food, just come here and yourself.
After the first message, Jamal changed their password and access codes, so they don't know how someone's getting in. He thinks they're being targeted because of the type of food they serve. Shalom Y'all makes Israeli cuisine that's meant to bring people together.
Unfortunately, because of the region of the world of the food that we serve, Oftentimes we do get lumped in with politics or religious differences, when really we're celebrating the cuisine from all of the Mediterranean and the Middle East.
Amid all of this, he also learned Shalom Yal's phone number was used to make threatening calls to 2 other Middle Eastern restaurants in the area. The tactic is called spoofing and is commonly used in other scams. But for Jamal, it feels violating to know his restaurant's name was used to spread hate.
I don't know what this person or these persons were saying on the phone calls. I only have what they left on our voicemail, and if it's any indication of what they had been saying when they had called other people in our name and using our number, I can only imagine how terrible that could be.
Lindsay Nadrich, KGW News.
The long talked about project to replace the I-5 bridge between Oregon and Washington took a step forward today. Oregon Governor Kate Brown and Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced their plan to restart the project. The current I-5 bridge is more than 100 years old. It poses seismic risks, and anybody who uses it knows it is a big source of congestion. Both governors say making safety upgrades is a top priority.
We do not have an option. This bridge has to be replaced.
It's high time that we address the congestion between our 2 states and invest in a bridge that will stand the test of time.
Both Oregon and Washington have set aside a total of $44 million to create an office to oversee the project. That office will analyze data and come up with a new design for the new bridge. Well, showers are rolling into downtown Portland this afternoon. That's a live look from our Wells Fargo Skycam. Darn gray out there on a Monday. So let's bring in Rod Hill, chat a little more about the forecast. We're expecting even more rain later today.
We are. If I may quote you, the darn gray skies are going to turn wet in the coming hour, I think, for most of us. Here's the radar. There's a little weakening band of rain now just parked near and to the west of I-5. I do want to focus on Albany down in Corvallis because here we are in this monitor. See, we've had some lightning and there's an absolute downpour cell right here. All this is moving off to the east-northeast. And we'll take you up into the Portland area. Starting to get a little bit of light rain, traceable amounts in Hillsboro. Right now, downtown Portland continues to be dry. On the sunrise show, the forecast for this afternoon was the rain chance would start at noon. So that's happening. And then as we go through the afternoon, I think we just slowly get wetter and wetter and wetter. I still think that's the best way to look at the remainder of the day. Definitely, you can tell it's raining down in Newport, the camera down at Uquinna Bay, 54 degrees there. And we're just starting to get some raindrops on the old pond there out at the Reserve Vineyards and Golf Club in Aloha, 54 degrees. Temperatures haven't moved much since this morning. Remember this morning we were in the 50s. Right now we're at 55. So I'll leave our high temperature about 57, it looks like, at most this afternoon. Once the rain starts to pick up in the coming hours, it'll be pretty wet this evening as well. Brenda, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Rod. Week 2 of public impeachment hearings gets underway tomorrow.
I like Carla.
And it'll be the busiest week yet. Craig Boswell has a preview for us.
A packed schedule for Week 2 in the impeachment inquiry of President Trump. 8 witnesses are scheduled to testify over 3 days beginning Tuesday morning. The open testimony includes, for the first time, those with first-hand knowledge of the call between President Trump and the President of Ukraine.
There is now ample evidence out there, that there was a corrupt deal being cooked up.
Democrats' first witness is Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, who was on the July 25th phone call. Vindman is the Director for European Affairs on the National Security Council. In his closed-door testimony, he said he was so alarmed by the call, he reported his concerns to the top lawyer at the NSC.
Well, I disagree with you, George. I don't think the evidence is building at all. And I'm being sincere in this. I think the evidence is crumbling.
Republicans and the president maintain there was no quid pro quo, the withholding of military aid in exchange for an investigation of the Bidens. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi invited the president to come speak for himself.
The president could come right before the committee and speak all the truth that he wants.
Also testifying Tuesday is Tim Morrison, a former NSC aide who corroborated in closed-door testimony that Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the European Union, told a top Ukrainian official that military aid was contingent on a Biden investigation. Craig Boswell, NBC News.
Well, President Trump may actually testify in the impeachment inquiry. As you heard, Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi invited the president to appear in person or give written testimony. In a tweet this morning, President Trump said he liked the idea and will strongly consider it. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer has also said the president should testify under oath. Amtrak is no longer letting passengers sue if they get hurt in a crash. Amtrak lost a lawsuit and had to pay $4.5 million to a woman hurt in this deadly derailment near Olympia in 2017. Now, when a passenger buys a ticket, they sign away their right to sue. Instead, they'll enter arbitration directly with Amtrak.